Most people think building wealth is all about numbers, strategies, and working harder than everyone else. They obsess over income, investments, and side hustles, but they rarely stop to think about the one factor that quietly shapes every financial decision they make: the people around you. Whether you realize it or not, your inner circle is constantly influencing how you think about money, success, risk, and what kind of life feels possible for you. From a young age, we absorb beliefs from the people closest to us: what they complain about, what they fear, what they normalize. If the people around you see money as something stressful, scarce, or only for lucky people, that mindset slowly becomes your own. You might still dream about wealth, but deep down, your actions will reflect the beliefs you're surrounded by. This is why two people with the same income can end up in completely different financial situations over time. When you look closely at people who build wealth consistently, you'll notice something interesting. Their conversations sound different. They talk less about instant gratification and more about long-term outcomes. They're not obsessed with looking rich, they're focused on becoming stable. Being around someone who thinks this way subtly changes how you make decisions. You start questioning impulsive spending. You become more patient. You begin to see time as an asset, not something to waste. Another powerful influence comes from people who are willing to challenge you, not in a negative or judgmental way, but in a way that forces you to be honest with yourself. This kind of person doesn't let you hide behind excuses. When you say you're serious about building wealth but your actions don't align, they notice. They ask questions that make you uncomfortable, but those questions push you forward. Without this kind of accountability, it's easy to stay stuck while telling yourself you're planning. Equally important is exposure to someone who's already where you want to be financially. This isn't about envy or comparison, it's about perspective. When you see someone who has built wealth through discipline, consistency, and patience, it changes what feels realistic. Goals that once seemed impossible start to feel attainable. Their habits, routines, and mindset quietly raise your standards. You stop settling for shortcuts and start respecting the process. At the same time, wealth building can easily become isolating or obsessive if you're not careful. That's why balance matters. Having someone in your inner circle who keeps you grounded is just as important as having ambitious influences. This person reminds you that money is a tool, not an identity. They help you stay emotionally stable when things don't move as fast as you expected. They keep you from making fear-based or ego-driven decisions that can undo years of progress. There's also something powerful about growing alongside someone who's on a similar path, not ahead of you, not behind you, but building at the same pace. This creates shared momentum. During periods where results are slow and motivation dips, knowing someone else is showing up consistently makes it easier to do the same. Progress feels more real when it's shared. You're less likely to quit when you're not alone in the struggle. What most people don't realize is that inner circles aren't fixed. They evolve as you evolve. But that evolution only happens when you become intentional. Many people stay surrounded by the same influences simply because it feels familiar, even when those influences hold them back. Choosing a better environment doesn't mean cutting people off harshly or acting superior. It means being aware of who has access to your thoughts, your time, and your energy. Over time, the conversations you're exposed to shape your expectations. Expectations shape behavior. Behavior shapes outcomes. This is why your inner circle compounds just like money does. Small influences, repeated daily, lead to massive differences years down the line. You don't need a large network. You don't need powerful connections. You need the right voices close enough to influence your thinking. Building wealth is already a long journey. Doing it surrounded by people who discourage growth makes it unnecessarily harder. But when your inner circle supports patience, accountability, and long-term thinking, wealth stops feeling like an uphill battle. It becomes a natural result of the environment you've built around yourself. In the end, money grows where discipline is normal, patience is respected, and progress is encouraged. If you're serious about building wealth, don't just look at your bank account. Look at the people closest to you. Because long before money shows up in your life, the mindset that creates it is shaped by your inner circle.